Let's start with what President Trump said on Air Force One on Friday. Here it is.
Mr. President, you promised Savannah Guthrie's family the full support of federal law enforcement. FBI is now...
I'll give you a little statement. I think we're doing very well on that regard. You're probably surprised to hear that. I think we're doing very well. Very well, meaning we have some clues, I think, that are very strong. And I think we could have some answers coming up fairly soon.
Is this a nationwide search? Is this a search going to Mexico?
I'm not talking about a search. I'm talking about a solution. We have some things I think that will maybe come out reasonably soon from DOJ or FBI or whoever that could be
Suspect?
Yeah, could be definitive. Yes. A lot's taken place in the last couple of hours. A lot of things have happened with regard to that horrible situation in the last couple of hours.
Okay. A lot in there. We're doing very well. We have clues that are very strong. We could have answers very soon. I'm not talking about a search. I'm talking about a solution. We have things that may come out that could be definitive. Is there a suspect? And he quickly says, yeah. It's almost as an aside. He says, yeah, things that could be definitive. And then he mentions FBI and DOJ. So let's get right to it, Jim. What does that mean? What did you take away from that?
Yeah, I'm racking my brain, Megan, if I've ever worked a case in which the president directly involved himself. And there's some big ones I worked, and the D.C. sniper and anthrax all happening in the D.C. area, but I don't remember direct and where sort of promises are made. I won't call them promises. Look, I think President Trump's heart is in the right place. The Guthrie family wants to hear something positive, but you got to be careful with creating too high of expectations. And I guess that was Friday from what you said. So we're looking at now 72 hours since he made that statement. There may be some investigators not happy he made that statement, but he said it was definitive or things definitive could happen, yet he was sort of vague at the same time. So sometimes investigators, you can actually plan sort of leaks, if you will, to sort of force the hand of a bad guy, whoever they are. I mean, usually it's someone holding someone in custody, someone's presently in danger. I can't imagine someone reaching out to the president, hey, could you drop these lines for us? But no doubt he's in touch with Kash Patel, Pam Bondi. They're in touch with the people in the field on the street there, and he's echoing something. He wants to give the nation something positive to think about, and I'm not saying he's lying. He's not at all. There may be things that have been developing, but it's a slow burn here, and everyone wants to make everything right.
I don't think President Trump was lying at all. I think President Trump was telling the truth. I think President Trump was excited that he thought we were about to have a breakthrough on this case. And I don't think his people would have told him that if it weren't true. And he's the one who mentioned FBI and DOJ. Yep. So it could have been either one or both. It could have been, obviously, we know the FBI is there on the ground and co-hosted the presser that happened on Thursday, but they answer to the DOJ. All their work, if it comes to something, would ultimately be coming to something for the DOJ to potentially do something about it. So they could be equally informed. So who knows? But I don't think for one second, Chad, that President Trump would have said that if he hadn't been briefed in a way that was promising and that he was feeling like we're getting there. The thing that I found most interesting was if I were Savannah Guthrie and I heard that, I would pick up the phone in a second and call him. He called her last week to tell her whatever you need. And I'd say, what do you have? And then President Trump's in a tough spot because maybe he's not ready to reveal that yet, no matter who it is. And now you're talking to the victim of the crime. I don't know. But what did you glean from it, Chad?
Megan, I agree absolutely with what Jim just said. I will say this. Look, I am a huge supporter of our president. I'm a huge supporter of Kash Patel and what the attorney general has been doing. But I've got to, we do know that President Trump loves to talk to the media. He loves to speak and throw things out there. But I agree with what Jim said. I agree with what you said. He is in constant contact. This is such a high profile case. He is in constant contact with Kash Patel and the boots on the ground. The American people are heavily invested in this case right now. So I think that possibly, he had information coming in. he says in the future, something real soon we're going to hear. I don't know. I think we have to sit back and wait. But he did, President Trump loves to kind of tease people.
Could have answers very soon.
Correct.
Could have answers very soon. Not talking about a search, talking about a solution. And by the way, remember, Chad, how we found out that they had arrested the guy they said did the pipe bombing? He was on Fox and Friends for a different hit, a hit about something else. And he was like, hey, by the way, we caught the pipe bomber. It was like, what?
The man has a way about how he does things, and that's what makes him who he is.
Megan, Jim. Can I add here? There is a term, both you and Chad are probably familiar with it. It's called tickle the wire. And when you're working a wiretap, a Title III, as we call it in the feds, there's a way that you're listening, and of course you have to minimize at certain times if they're talking about, the wives' cookie recipes or something, as opposed to crime. So what the agents would do, though, and what I was part of, is you do something. You have a police car go by the suspect's house. They're involved in something, not necessarily a kidnapping like this, but they're involved in some kind of bad deeds, and you have that. Or you have someone knock on the door kind of suspiciously, or a letter goes to the house. And then you're waiting to see what they say on the phone when this event happens that you, the investigator, stage. And the nickname for it is tickle the wire. Well, okay. Do we have a version of that in which the president is serving as the tickle the wire force? Because I will tell you something.
He's the tickler.
He's the tickler. I don't know if he's been called that before. But I'll tell you what, whoever is involved in this, again, we go back to for revenge, for profit. If now they're conflated somehow, or completely separate. Whoever was involved in doing this, one, probably more people who are involved, they may have altered their behavior Friday morning and did something. And if maybe the investigators on the ground, the boots on the ground, as Chad said, they didn't plan for President Trump to make this statement, but if nothing else, they should have taken advantage of it. And let's see who's moving, who is someone even very low on the suspect list we have, who's made a quick call. If we're watching them, we're monitoring their phones, who's called someone else. And maybe, hey, did you hear what the president said? In whatever language, potentially. And that could be a clue that the investigators weren't even necessarily looking for, or that, initiated themselves, but then something happened afterwards. So it's a known tactic in law enforcement, completely legal, this tickle the wire concept. Usually the wire, of course, is the wiretap of a phone line, cell phone landlines, whatever. Also emails.
Well,
and that could then happen.
The other thing I have to say is I was excited when I heard that, because I thought, okay, they've got somebody. They think they know who did it. But then it occurred to me, having listened to it now many times, he could have been talking about the ransom letter writer. It could be not the suspect in the kidnapping or the harming of Nancy Guthrie. It could be they've got the person who's writing the notes. Let's listen to it one more time and just tell me what you think about that possibility. Because solving that is important, but it might not lead us to the kidnapper. It might be two totally different people. So just listen to Trump again.
Mr. President, you promised Savannah Guthrie's family the full support of federal law enforcement. FBI is now...
I'll give you a little statement. I think we're doing very well on that regard. You're probably surprised to hear that. I think we're doing very well. Very well, meaning we have some clues, I think, that are very strong. And I think we could have some answers coming up fairly soon.
Is this a nationwide search? Is this a search going to Mexico?
I'm not talking about a search. I'm talking about a solution. We have some things I think that will maybe come out reasonably soon from DOJ or FBI or whoever that could be
suspect.
Yeah, could be definitive. Yes, a lot's taken place in the last couple of hours. A lot of things have happened with regard to that horrible situation in the last couple of hours.
Right? So, Chad, I don't know. Could be either one.
Yeah, Megan, let's I briefly breached this topic with Jim. The word solution, right? It's not, we haven't discovered, we have a solution. Hear me out for a second. NBC, right? Obviously, Savannah is one of the highest paid news personalities there is for NBC. I looked that up this morning. last week was the opening ceremonies. NBC is hosting opening ceremonies of the Olympics. They also were the ones that hosted Super Bowl last night. All these viewerships. So if this is a solution, could this, again, we have talked about this, but could this be some type of international crime group that's trying to, and I'm not saying that NBC is involved at all. I want to make sure that is clear. Could this be some type of international crime group that is, trying to disrupt everything that's going on? I mean, there's a totally different angle on this, that could be more than just the son-in-law or just a random maintenance worker. Again, everything's out on the, there's nothing that's not on the table right now.
But Chad, did you see the one report saying that reportedly the money that was requested in ransom note number 1 said, now we're being told $4 million if you pay by Thursday, $6 million if you pay by Monday, USD in US dollars, which has some saying, why that doesn't sound like an American. Like when we communicate money figures to one another, we don't say USD.
No.
We just say, you put the dollar sign and then you put the number, the numeral, and then you put million or thousand or whatever your unit of money is. So that could be some small support for this being international and President Trump possibly, casting a very wide web and getting some sort of a ring in this. Because look, it would. The thing about that's attractive is those are the ones who do kidnappings.
Sure.
It's not an American thing from all of our experts. It's just not something that Americans do. But it is something that they do in Latin America.
100%. And I think that's why nothing's off the table. And, he didn't first say that we could hear something from the Pima County Sheriff's Office. He says we could hear something soon coming from the DOJ or the FBI. Well,
and let's face it, there is zero chance that Pima County sheriff is calling President Trump with updates. Zero. There's just no way that's what's happening. Trump gets his information from his cabinet secretaries and his own chiefs, people like Kash, people like Pam. Those would be the ones who would have the information. Though I am told that the FBI is in more of a helping role in this case, and that it is the Pima County sheriff who is running herd on this. As I say that, this just broke via NBC. And again, you really have to take the NBC News information seriously here, because trust me when I tell you they would not want to get out ahead on anything if it hadn't been blessed by Savannah, or if they thought it was going to do anything to compromise the investigation. They report the FBI said it has deployed additional intelligence and agent personnel from its Phoenix office and other FBI field offices now to assist in the investigation. The agency is also staffing a 24-hour command post with agents who investigate incoming leads and tips. Members of the Cellular Analysis Survey Team, or CAST, are assisting and continue to collect and process digital data as detectives review and analyze information from various sources, including banks and social media. All right, Jim, I have a question for you about that last piece. The Cellular Analysis Survey Team. So cell phones are everything. They know everything about us, these devices. They know where we've been. They know who we've talked to. They know what we've thought. And it did occur to me, since we spent time on the brother-in-law last week, that if you proceed under the theory that the brother-in-law may have been behind this and also is sending the ransom notes, that would be near impossible. The heat on that guy right now and all last week is at a fire level. So there's no way he's sneaking off to the library to fire off these forms on the local news stations. And by the way, we're told TMZ also has one of those, a tip line where you can go, and maybe that's why the person chose TMZ, not because they watch TMZ, but it also has one of those forms where you can put on, oh, here's a tip, TMZ. It's Megyn Kelly. Here's my address or my phone number, and my tip is whatever. So there's zero chance this guy was doing that last week. Now, he might have had an accomplice if he was behind this. And of course, then there's the other theory we've been actively working on, which is the two are unrelated. Whoever took her or hurt her has nothing to do with these notes. It's an opportunist, as you put it, Jim. But do you agree with my premise that if we're pursuing the line of the brother or any one of the family, there is zero chance that person was in a position to send ransom notes last week?
Megan, as we discussed a few times last week, whenever a profiler and a behavioralist looks at a crime, series of crimes, you look at pre-offense behavior, of course, the crime itself, post-offense behavior. It's one thing trying to determine what an unknown subject, unsub, as we said in the Bureau, is doing post-offense behavior, changing their disguise, leaving the scene, sometimes injecting themselves into a crime scene, calling in false tips, or certainly following the media. But if you have someone who is within those concentric circles, I'm not going to call the brother-in-law a suspect, but he is someone, of course, that is being looked at. It would be, you said zero chance. I would say virtually impossible, maybe less than zero, that he's out there putting these ransom demand email communications, whatever they are, multiple ones now in that regard. There's no way he's doing that. Look, whoever this may be, and it was a revenge thing well, it was for profit to begin with. Maybe they're doing that now. If it was a revenge thing, and as I said last week, laying out all the options, perhaps it's someone, well, let me cover up my tracks by doing this. I don't really want the money, but let's let the FBI and the sheriff department chase after these people. So there are multiple avenues here. And all we would have needed was the kidnap note, like other kidnappings that we discussed already this week, from Norway to Frank Sinatra Jr. and the Bronx and whatever. Just something that was proven that the kidnappers are the same people who abducted Mrs. Guthrie. We just don't have that so far. And for the brother, brother-in-law, whatever we want to call him, Tommaso, he has to be in the suspect pool. Everyone does in that close concentric circle. But I would find it, he's the equivalent of a criminal mastermind and Houdini, if he can, in fact, send off these emails with no one else even knowing that.
International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years. And a never-ending list of reasons smart Americans diversify a portion of their savings into precious metals with Birch Gold Group. Gold can thrive during uncertainty, which is why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind, given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you. Birch Gold can help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into an IRA in gold. Just text MK to the number 989898 to receive your free info kit on gold. There's no obligation, just useful information. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, consider letting Birch Gold help you diversify with gold, so you too can have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty. Text MK to 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.